Hey there, and welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari.
Hey guys, I got the fro, Quincy Carr.
I'm Cheryl Nelson. Another great show with you two. Love seeing you both here on Main Street Living. And guys, something I've been thinking about lately is I love seeing all the little mom and pop shops in my town, the small businesses. It's so important to support them. What do you guys do in your local communities?
Well, there's a great paper store nearby that I love to go. I love snail mail. I want to keep it alive, so I love to visit that. And then also, you guys know I've been going to New York for work a good bit, and I love to look out for like the little local coffee shops. That's always fun.
Ooh,
Same
yum.
here. Just
Yes.
see them and enjoy them and support them. Yeah.
Yeah.
The coffee shop is a great idea. We've got one in my
Yeah.
local town too. And it's just so fun. And I love it when they put the little heart on top of it. They make it all pretty.
It's just true artwork, just like today's show. Quincy, we have a great show coming up.
That's right. We even got a fellow comedian talking about inclusion in entertainment.
Yeah, lots of stuff coming up. And we will continue our celebration of Black History Month. But coming up next on Main Street Living, we will meet an entrepreneur on a mission. Stay with us. You don't want to miss this.
Listen up. We're about to take over the whole nation.
Gotta be who you are in this world, no matter what.
Brought the vibranium, baby.
If you want something, you gotta fight for it.
I believe in myself, and I believe in us.
Together, nothing can stop us.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy, there's been a movement over the past few years to focus our dollars on shopping local at small businesses. So if we can support our neighbors instead of a big box store, why wouldn't we do that, right?
Absolutely, Cheryl. I mean, entrepreneurship has always played a big part in boosting local economies, but it also plays an important role in changing our society. Our next guest is doing both of those things in a big way. Please welcome to Main Street Living, Rushell Gordon. Thanks so much for making time for us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So, a few years ago, you left a successful corporate career to become an entrepreneur. Why did you feel drawn to open your own business, especially at the beginning of a pandemic?
Well, the plan wasn't to open during the pandemic, but as you know, it takes a little while after you sign your lease to do a build out. Well, I signed my lease in May of 2019, and it took a while to get permits and build out and so forth done. So by the time I completed, it was already March of 2020. So that's when I got my final approvals, and obviously the world was shutting down at the same time. So I decided to wait a few weeks just because, that's what everyone thought it was going to take for the pandemic to kind of get back to normal. And unfortunately, it didn't. So I decided to open May of 2020, and we did a Mother's Day tea to go. And that's how we started. So the plan wasn't the pandemic, but it turned out to work out for us well, that it was the pandemic.
Yeah, and Rochelle, what's crazy is the idea that the pandemic was almost 3 years, well, just about 3 years ago, right? So that's a fast 3 years. So how do you feel tea connects with the people? Like, tell us a little bit more about this shop, Bliss Tea and Treats.
Yeah, so I grew up drinking tea. I'm from Panama, so we grew up drinking tea, and I felt that during the pandemic, it was even more essential because people really were looking for alternatives and healthy alternatives. And we spent a lot of time talking to our customers about what they needed. And there was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of depression. And, we also ended up creating a tea. As a matter of fact, the tea that I'm drinking, it's called Mental Clarity. And Mental Clarity, we created this tea for the kids when they were going back to school. So we did an educational workshop for some homeschoolers, and we blended this tea with them. And it has ingredients that really helps your brain to think clearly. And the kids loved it. We loved it. So we kept it on the menu for everyone. So those kinds of things evolved as a result of the pandemic. So it was really cool.
Well, I think the tea is working. You sound very clear. The clarity is there. Bliss Tea and Treats is, of course, in Oceanside, California, just north of San Diego. And you are on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. You're very involved in your community. I know that you took time to learn about other Black business owners in your area. What can you tell us about what you found?
Well, it was actually difficult to find information. So I reached out to Christy Hawthorne over at the Historical Society, who I know from the chamber, and she actually didn't have a lot of information. And Christy is an amazing historian, and she does a lot of research. So we decided to post a form and do a social media campaign to collect data on Black-owned businesses. I was also very interested in the history of tea rooms in Oceanside, and we found that 90 years ago there was one that was here. So what we found was people started submitting data, but then we wanted to do something with the data that we got, right? So as we started to learn about more Black-owned businesses, they didn't necessarily have to be open, but we just wanted to know the history of Black-owned businesses in Oceanside. So we were able to go back about at least 90 years and collect data that were here. Yeah, so we have a pretty good list, and that list helped us to create the stories that we used in the show.
Wow, like how difficult was that process? Because I mean, gathering up all those stories of fellow Black entrepreneurs that weren't part of the record, like it's got to be a task, right?
Yeah. So what we did was Christy was able to do interviews when we contacted people, then we were able to do interviews. And sometimes it was interviews with their families, right? So if someone, we interviewed someone's nephew or someone's daughter to get the stories and then to get pictures of them, because one of the main things about having information in the Historical Society is you also want to have some photos available. So we were able to scan some photos and get those in the archives, as well as, just doing interviews. We did a lot of interviews to collect the data that we needed.
Okay.
And then you kind of alluded to a show. So why did you decide to tell these Black business owners' stories in a performance event? And who were some of these featured?
So we decided to tell the stories because, we were sitting with the Brooks Theater director, and like, remember the days when you would sit at the dining room table or on the porch and your elders, right, would tell these stories. And sometimes, I know with my family, it's like, yeah, okay, I heard that story at least a million times. But now as I'm older, I want to hear those stories, right? Because I feel like our time is limited and we may not get those stories for very long. So because Black people didn't start migrating to Oceanside until Camp Pendleton came here in the 40s. So we realized that 80 years, there's a lot of those stories that will go away and we'll never hear them, right? Because a lot of that generation will start to leave us. So we felt it was really important to tell those stories now so that we can have that on video archive. People can have that, to hold on to, and then continue to tell the stories so that we always know that they're there. So that was the inspiration. The inspiration was, wow, how old are these stories and how much time do we have? And we realized we don't really have that much time. So we need to start telling them.
So cool, because I mean, like, mad kudos to you. And I got to ask you, like, what was it like to watch your idea being brought to life at the theater? Because I believe it happened on February 11th.
Yeah. So I was at every single rehearsal.
Yeah.
And it was the rehearsal before the actual show that I had the big cry. Like I saw it really happening. They were off script. They were in costume. And I saw myself on the stage. And it just all became real. To see the actors go from, learning about the individuals that they were playing and then to become those people. So we had real pictures of those individuals on the screen as they were portraying them. So it made it real. And it was probably the most amazing thing I've ever experienced.
So cool.
So, I mean, other people want to experience it. Is there a way people can see the generational Black pioneers performance?
Yes. So it will be videotaped. It has been videotaped. We have 2 more shows on Friday for the high schools, but we will have it online. It will be available on the Bliss teatreats.com, and it will also be available on the Oceanside Historical Society website.
Awesome. Well, Rushell, we want to give you a lot of props. Thank you so much. We got your information up here on the screen so viewers can find more information about your business, Bliss Tea and Treats as well. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing and for stopping by the show today.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day, you guys.
No problem. You do the same. All right. Well, Danielle, women are ruling the world right now, right? So cool. So yeah. So up next, we're going to meet an inspiring mayor. You don't want to miss it. Stay right there.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. These days, when you hear the word politician, it might not always bring up the most positive emotions, but a life of public service is really meant to be about bringing people together and solving problems.
That's right. And Pamela Goynes-Brown is building on a family legacy of service and a lifelong commitment to improving the community she grew up in.
Which is just one reason why she was chosen as Cox's Black History Month honoree. Let's take a look at this.
I think Mayor Pamela Goynes-Brown totally deserves this recognition. She's the kind of person that always is flying under the radar. And she's the kind of person that always makes sure that she has everyone collaborating and working in the same direction.
I love this job because it's all about the constituents in the city of North Las Vegas. And my ward, the ward that I grew up in, I know the community very, very well. And just to try to work with them to see, what are your wants? What are your needs? That just gives me great joy when I can just solve problems on various levels just to make someone's day much brighter.
No matter what it is, she always has her neighbors and her community and their best interests at heart, no matter what it is. She loves North Las Vegas. Of course, she's the daughter of a legendary city councilman.
My father served as the first African-American councilman in North Las Vegas and the first mayor pro tem. And my mom bringing reading programs and helping to write the kindergarten curriculum here in Clark County. I just look at them and the progress that they've made over the years. They did probably 70 years combined between the two of them. I retired as an educator after 35 years of service. It's just like, wow, it's me. I'm doing the exact same things. And then just his service in politics. And I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And funny that I say that because now it's happening.
She's the kind of person that doesn't want the attention for herself. She wants the attention for her community. And it's always good to see someone who's a selfless, a hardworking, dedicated member of the community.
It's so humbling. I feel eternally grateful and so blessed because it took the people to have that faith and confidence in me to be their new leader. And so I'm just overjoyed and just want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can. So it's kind of hard to put it in words. Just like I wake up and I'm going, wow, this is really real. This is really happening.
She's the first Black mayor anywhere in our state of Nevada. She's actually a historical figure, like it or not, right? I love it because it's very fitting that it happened here in North Las Vegas.
I am just excited to be part of this historical moment, especially in my lifetime. I didn't set out to plan anything growing up. I just know when I set my mind to something, I'm going to give it 110%.
And she's that low-key type of leader that I think every organization should have at least one person like that. And she's been a perfect person like that here in North Las Vegas.
Know what you want to do. Be true to yourself, first of all. Listen to your parents. Have trust and faith in God, and then whatever you set your mind to, go for it. There'll be a lot of doors that close, but when one door closes, another door opens, and you just have to remain steadfast, remain determined, push for those goals, and you can achieve whatever you want to.
It's a really proud moment to see my good friend take that leadership role and move the city forward.
I love serving the public, and nothing gives me greater joy just to make sure that my constituents are safe in their neighborhoods and that they are happy and that I'm doing the best that I can for the city that I am so proud to call home.
Oh, I love her passion, and she's actually getting stuff done for the community. Comes from a great legacy. She's amazing.
Yeah, and you can find more information about Mayor Pamela and other Black History Month honorees on our website, yourview.com/Black History Month.
And don't go anywhere because coming up next on Main Street Living, we will visit a unique museum in Louisiana that you don't want to miss.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, ladies, over the past few years, we've seen rising awareness of systemic racism, the prevalence of the Black Lives Matter movement, and public debate about what to teach in high school classes about race.
Yeah, and as our awareness grows, there's been increased interest in learning about the history of African Americans in this country.
Fortunately, there are a lot of museums around the country focused on African American history, and this one in Louisiana is a can't miss. Let's take a look.
I would like to say welcome to the River Road African American Museum. What we do here at the River Road African American Museum is connect the past to the present.
Our museum was founded in 1994 by my sister Kathy Hamburg and our family to actually talk about the history along the river here in South Louisiana. We've been around for about 29 years here in the Donaldsonville and Ascension Parish area and have become one of the premier museums for the state of Louisiana when it comes to African American history.
When you think about Black history, what we want you to understand is that this is more than Black history. This is Louisiana history. All of the rural communities are represented in this museum that we call the River Road African American Museum. This is America's history. This is a part of world history.
Our museum has collected various buildings and artifacts that are in relation to life of those Africans who were brought to Louisiana to work the plantations and the lives of those descendants who now live in this community. Our museum talks about the resilience. We talk about the lives of those individuals who worked and made it possible for the economic development of this entire community.
And through our community programs, we hope to develop after-school programs, a Saturday program, and a summer camp so that the children of today can learn about this history, and hopefully it will encourage and inspire them to do better in the future.
Another highlight is our exhibit on jazz. We talk about the origins of jazz. Most people relate to New Orleans as that place and the birthplace of jazz. We give them credit for the birthplace, but we have one of the greatest jazz musicians of all times by the name of King Oliver, who was born about a mile and a half from here, not far from here in a town called Aben. We have various tours. We have a self-guided tour where you can come in and kind of walk and read the information that's being presented here on your own. We do have guided tours with our directors, which is kind of an executive type tour. We also offer bicycle tours called Museum on Wheels. We take you on a bicycle ride around the community and talk about the importance of the African American influences just throughout this community. This house was built in the early 1900s. And so many people have never had the opportunity even to walk into one of these spaces, nevertheless to come inside and to find the information that we have displayed here and exhibited here at our museum. Our museum says in order to understand the future, we must take a look at our past.
Not only is that museum great for learning, but gosh, the artwork in there is amazing.
Yeah, the one thing that's very important is you cannot hide Black history because it essentially is American history, okay? And you guys can find out more about the River Road African American Museum on their website, africanamericanmuseum.org.
Very cool. Well, don't go away because coming up next on Main Street Living, get your camera. Ready, set, go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Now, Danielle, Cheryl, we probably noticed already, people across the world may not be able to agree on a lot of things these days, but hopefully we can all agree that the world is better, our communities are better, and our lives are better when we recognize and embrace what makes us each unique and make sure everyone is included and valued, of course.
That's right, Q. And our next guest is working to improve inclusivity in the entertainment industry. So please welcome Nick Novicki to the show. Welcome to Main Street Living. So good to see you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, we're excited for you to be here. And you have a long list of credits as an actor, producer, comedian, and disability advocate. So tell us a little bit about your career so far in the big world of entertainment.
Yeah, I've been very lucky that I've had the opportunity to work a lot in front of and behind the camera. I've been in 40 TV shows and movies, including Boardwalk Empire, The Sopranos, The Good Doctor. I've toured all over the world as a comedian, and I've been very lucky as a little person that I've had all these opportunities. But the majority of my opportunities have been self-driven, with me writing, producing, and creating my own content. Because early in my career, I was like, look, I'm 3'10". So if I want to be the gangster or the romantic lead, I need to figure out how to do it on my own.
Absolutely. I think nobody knows your talent better than you do, so it's good
Mhm.
to write your own stuff. And I know 10 years ago, you actually started the Disability Film Challenge. What is it, and what was the goal you were trying to accomplish with it?
Sure. So it is a 5-day filmmaking competition. And, as I said, I've been very lucky in my career and that I've had all these opportunities. And as a little person, really it was me creating my own opportunities that put me in a position to get seen by Martin Scorsese, the Farley brothers, all these people that have
Mm.
seen me and that I've gotten the chance to work with. So 10 years ago, I looked around, I said to myself, why aren't more people with disabilities creating their own content? It led to all these opportunities for me. So I created the Disability Film Challenge, a 5-day filmmaking competition where you need to have somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. Now, you make this 1 to 5 minute film over those 5 days, and the films don't have to be about disability. It's just about including people with disabilities in front of and behind the camera, because ultimately that's what builds these lasting relationships. And by having films and a piece to show, you're ultimately going to make it so that people can see you and it gets exposure for yourselves, but also for the disability community.
And that's the thing, is putting it out there, getting that exposure. And that's not easy to do in 5 days. So how did the challenge go that very first year? And did you know that you were onto something right away?
To be honest, that first year, I was like, I think this is going to be kind of a one-off competition. I mean, that was really in my head. I was like, I have friends with disabilities that are very talented, and I wanted to give them sort of a jump start for their careers. And so that first year, we only had like 5 films, but right away, I saw something really special, and that people were able to put themselves out there in the way they wanted to be seen. And right away, people are like, when is the next challenge? And casting directors and producers are like, who is this girl? Who is that guy? I want to bring them in for this TV show, for this audition. So I saw something was there. And then ultimately, it just kept growing year after year. There was the second film challenge. We kept getting bigger mentors. Peter Farley came on as a mentor,
Mm.
and it kept growing. But then in 2017, I partnered with Easter Seals Southern California. Now, Easter Seals is the nation's largest disability services organization. They've been around for 100 years, and really, it exploded. I mean, to date, we've had over 500 films that have been created from all over the world.
Wow.
And literally, we've had every kind of disability represented in front of and behind the camera. And it's been just so beautiful to see these authentic representations and people really
Mm.
taking their career in their own hands and all the jobs that it's led to.
It's just incredible what you've been able to give back to your own community. Obviously, the competition has grown massively over the last 10 years. We know you're gearing up for your 10th Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. What do we need to know about who can enter and what the parameters are?
Yeah, so anybody can enter. Well, all you need to do is go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com. You will need to register by March 27th. And then everybody from around the world that's registered will receive the full assignment. That is going to include themes, props that need to be included, locations to choose from, so that we know that these films were done over the course of 5 days. Because we do get first time actors, writers, directors, and producers, but we've also had Emmy winners and Oscar winners. So we want to keep it fair for everybody, because ultimately it's just about telling a good story. And we did something special this year. We already told everybody what the genre is. So this year, the genre is romance.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My favorite.
I mean, it's something that we don't see enough stories of
Aw.
romance, of people with disabilities. And I think they're going to really be just authentic and funny, maybe touching. It's up to whoever that enters, you know, they're able
Absolutely. And
to make
I'm a
those
girl who loves rom-coms. So I want to see these. This is so cool. So what happens once these films are submitted? Who are the judges, and is there a screening, and how does the awards ceremony work?
Sure. So the film challenge itself is March 28th to April 2nd. Then the following week, all of our films, which last year we had a record-breaking 95 films, are all put on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page. And then everybody is competing in an awareness campaign to get as many likes, views, and shares for their films. And ultimately, it just helps expand exposure for our participants and for the disability community. And at the same time, we have some of the biggest judges with and without disabilities, actors, writers, directors, Oscar nominees, studio executives that are judging these films. And then we have our finalist announcement on April 22nd and our award ceremony, which this is the 10th anniversary. And we are so excited for this celebration. And is going to be at Sony Picture Studios on May 4th. You know, so again, I want to just preface this that I'm not a judge. So if you don't win, don't come to me. It's not my fault. No, but I want to say that, look, it really is, though. I feel that everybody wins when they make a film. They're putting themselves out there. Everybody owns their own films. Some of these films that weren't named as finalists or winners have gone on to screen at over 100 film festivals around the world. And those participants have been hired in multi-year TV roles. So you never know what's going to happen. But as long as you make your own film and put yourself out there, you are opening up the opportunity for you to further your career.
Absolutely. I mean, you've already furthered so many probably that we wouldn't even known about otherwise. So obviously, what do you think the Film Challenge has accomplished in its first 10 years? And also, how can viewers find out more information?
Sure. So if you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com, you can hit our challenge tab and you could see past winning films, our past challenges. You could see who our judges are, who our mentors are. I got to say, I'm just so proud of all of these amazing filmmakers and participants that have taken part in the challenge over the last 10 years. As I said, we've had 500 films. You know, roughly 1 in 4 Americans identifies as having a disability, but we are not represented in film and TV the way our numbers are. But through the Film Challenge, we've made a major impact because studios, networks, casting directors, producers have been able to watch these films and see the talent that is out there. And so I'm so proud that everybody has been able to put themselves out there and show what they can do. And I feel like we're just getting started. You know,
Oh, Nick, this is so awesome. I wish we could talk to you all day, but we've got to go. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's so exciting, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Amazing. And I'm just so important to make everybody included. Like you said, 1 in 4. So shocked to hear that. Speaking of including everybody, up next, make your cocktail hour inclusive and delicious.
Yes.
Listen up. We're about to take over the whole nation.
Gotta be who you are in this world, no matter what.
Brought the vibranium, baby.
If you want something, you gotta fight for it.
This goes out to the fixers.
I believe in myself, and I believe in us.
Together, nothing can stop us.
Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Cheryl, are you the kind of person who chooses which bottle of wine or beer to buy based on how cool the label looks?
Oh boy.
I like the wine, not the label.
Yeah. Okay. I'll admit though, the label is influential. It is. If it looks cool, it's got a lot of colors. I'll kind of gravitate toward that one first. So listen up. Cassandra Shagg's series, Fresh Glass, will introduce you to different wines and beers and also share the stories of the people who have created them.
That's right. So you'll be able to choose exactly the bottle you want and support diverse producers at the same time. It's a win-win. Let's take a look.
Sip Wine and Beer is a wine and beer tasting room here in Escondido. Started it in 2015. I wanted to start a business and I wanted to create a space where we could talk about wine. And so when you come here, you get to veer off the beaten path and try brands that you do not get anywhere else.
It's a blend of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
These are brands that have created quality wine, beers, and they don't get the opportunities to be in the main stage with the other big box retailers. So they rely on small businesses like myself to share their stories and to get their names out there for people to support. Fast forward 7 years, I've been able to be sustainable in doing that, and that is now evolved to Fresh Glass.
Denise Clark found a passion for winemaking later in life. She transformed her home into a wine sanctuary.
So we created this docuseries to tell the stories of women and BIPOC innovators in food, beverage, and entrepreneurship that aren't visible in both our society or in mainstream media. And the goal was to create a story of people who could see themselves in places or in entrepreneurship or in spaces that generally don't have people who look like me or women in. And so food, beverage, and entrepreneurship is this umbrella of fields that are underrepresented when it comes to both women and people of color.
I think what Cassandra's series indicate and shows you that people from all walks of life, and especially people that look like myself, they're doing amazing things, and those stories should be shared because I think it broadens everybody's understanding, and we're more alike than not.
Inglewood, California is known as the City of Champions.
Welcome to Crowns Inglewood, baby.
Welcome to Crowns Inglewood.
The industry in wine and beer, or in food and beverage in general, accounts for less than 1% when it comes to women. And then it's not even 1% when it comes to people of color. It was the first time that their story was told on a national scale. And you have hometown heroes who have made a name for themselves, but those heroes are deserving and worthy of the attention on a bigger scale. And so that's what we set out to do. And from the first woman Native American winemaker in the country to the first Creole woman to own a winery in the United States and everything in between, those are the stories that people need to see. Those are the stories that people need to hear.
I want to toast to the legacy of a trailblazer.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, and you know what? And I didn't even know I was trailblazing. I was just doing my thing. I think if you just keep dreaming and do your thing, it just keeps evolving.
And the biggest challenge is getting people to buy into that. You know, creating a television show, is one of the hardest things that I've done, but the most rewarding. And just like being an entrepreneur, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to create this concept. You have to invest in yourself. You have to put your own money up front. And you have to create this vision that you hope comes to life on television so people understand the story and it resonates with them.
Wow, ladies, like that is such a cool vision from a dedicated woman. And of course, congrats on her TV show too.
Yes, and I've got to try these wines. The Fresh Glass series will be running on YourView for the rest of the year, so check it out on your local guide, and you can also find out more information about the show at freshglassproductions.com.
All right, well, our next guest was coming up after the break, so get ready to move while we enjoy a simple recipe from like, I believe it's comfort food.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle Quincy. It's still February, which means we've got about a month of winter still to go. And guys, this is the time I start to get tired of the short, cold days.
Yeah, and sometimes when it's cold outside, you just want to cook up a warm, hearty meal, but nothing that's too complicated.
Sure thing. And of course, that's where Nina Monique can help. She's back again. And today she's sharing an easy recipe for the ultimate comfort food, smothered chicken. For real. Check it out.
Hey guys, it's your girl Nina Monique, and you are here with Recipe Remix, and today we are cooking out of my family cookbook. Yes, the Curtis family cookbook, and today we are making smothered chicken and gravy. Super easy, only a couple of ingredients, and oh my gosh, your family is gonna flip for this recipe. Well, in this bowl here I have boneless, skinless chicken thighs and drumettes. So this chicken's already well seasoned. I have my own seasoning blend. Check out my website to get yours. And we're gonna add those exact same spices that I've added on the chicken into the flour. So I've got it right here. So go ahead and add it to your flour. Go ahead and give it a little mix. And start seasoning our chicken. So in the flour it goes. Shake off the excess and plate it onto the side. What you want to do with this excess flour, go ahead and reserve 3 to 4 tablespoons. This is what's going to help us thicken our gravy and keep all the flavors dancing like it's a slow jam, baby. So I've got my cast iron. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on medium, right in the middle. Not too hot, not too cold. Go ahead and melt this butter. Once this is melted, we'll get our chicken in. Gotta give it a nice brown toast on each side. All right, come. We'll put the chicken in the butter. We're all nice and melted here. And go ahead and allow your chicken right on in. So go ahead and let your chicken get nice, toasty, golden brown on both sides. All about maybe 10 minutes or so. While it's cooking, it's been about 5-7 minutes. Go ahead and flip this chicken. It should be nice, golden brown on one side. Let's go ahead and let it finish dancing on the stove. Cooking, it's cooking, it's cooking. All right, this chicken is perfectly golden brown, so go ahead and take it out of the pan. Let's go ahead and add some more butter. All right, so now that the butter is good and melted, we're gonna go ahead and add our aromatics, AKA our veggies. So I've got here some mushrooms, some fresh chopped garlic, and an onion. Let's go ahead and add all of that in there and give it a toss. All right, so I'm gonna saute these down until they get translucent and golden brown. So now it is time to start making our roux. So remember that flour that we took to the side from our chicken? Go ahead and add about 3 tablespoons of this flour into your onions and mushrooms. And go ahead and mix, mix, mix. Now go ahead and add your favorite type of chicken stock into the pan. And now you're gonna see that flour that we just added is going to turn into a delicious, creamy gravy for our chicken to bathe in. Ooh, it smells good. And now what you're gonna do is go ahead and add your chicken back into this delicious, beautiful gravy we got in here. And like I said, this is going to thicken up once we put the top on. All right, now you're gonna go ahead, put your lid on top and let this simmer quietly and calmly for at least 30 minutes. It is going to be delicious, savory. And while we're waiting, you know what time it is. All right. Alrighty guys, our smothered chicken and gravy is done. As you can see, that gravy got nice and thick. This chicken is delicious, decadent. I got some rice right here. You can use cornbread, pasta, mashed potatoes, whatever you like. Go ahead and get you some, baby. Go ahead and put some right here. Ooh-wee. All right, here we go. Let's try it out. What?
Wow, that's some true Southern eating right there.
That's right, and the Texas boy would know. You can find more recipes or follow Nina at reciperemix.com. That's remix with 2 X's.
That's right. We'll be right back with more of Main Street Living.
Welcome back into Main Street Living, another fun show, and so great to see all the small businesses we can support.
That's right. And if you happen to miss any of our segments, you can always catch them on our Cox Contour app.
And new episodes of Main Street Living Mondays at 9 p.m. local time. So make sure you join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.